By now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Desmond Naples, the now 12-year-old LGBT advocate, model, actor, and so-called drag kid. Desmond is amazing, or so we're told, but all it takes is a little bit of research to find out some disturbing things about this kid's life. I made an in-depth video about him a few months ago, as well as a follow-up video. I'll link them both in the description, so if you're not familiar with all the chaos in his life, I recommend you watch those first. But basically what happened was I was very alarmed at how many wrong and dangerous situations Desmond was being put in, so I found it necessary to call CPS in hopes that his family would be under review and he would be placed with responsible parents. This was not a fake report, as people were saying, and this is fully within my rights as an American to do. Understandably, though, his mom freaked out and posted about the situation on Instagram to her 180,000 followers, but of course deleting any negative comments to further fuel mob mentality. The claims were declared unfounded, and Desmond was left as he is with his parents. And to everyone shouting, "I told you so," I have two things to say. One, I'm glad nothing was found. I don't want him to be abused, and if they didn't find anything, that's a good sign. I don't get joy out of this. And two, I hate to say it, but just because they didn't find anything doesn't mean he's not being abused. There's been thousands of cases where the families were declared innocent and the children later died as a result of a false ruling. CPS investigated 3.2 million children in a year. 2.5 million of them were declared non-victims, and 1,640 kids died as a result. I don't want Desmond to become a statistic like that. An unfounded investigation doesn't necessarily mean the parents are clean. I would also like it to be known that when I say abuse, I mean emotional, psychological, and possibly sexual, not necessarily by his mom, but by the situations she is responsible for putting him in. I really don't think Wendy comes home at night and beats him. I think she loves him a lot, but doesn't know how to raise a child correctly in an appropriate environment. But that's pretty much the gist of what happened in the past. I was sent an article by a longtime follower who had a lot to say about the matter. I'll link his channel in the description. Here's what he had to say about it. What I was sent shocked me, and it really made me want to do an update on the situation. It's titled, "Desmond is Truly Amazing and Hot." Originally posted on WordPress.com, I read this and the whole time I was thinking, no way is this real. This has to be satire to troll anyone who is remotely concerned for him. But as I did more research, I am sadly positive that this is real. The article states, and forgive me, I'm just reading it as it is, being a drag queen, or a drag princess if you will, puts it right out there, in the open for all to see. It says loud and proud, "I am a sexy kid, with sexy feelings. It's totally cool for grown-ups to get turned on by me. I love it. That's why I do this stuff. It's great. It's fun. It's me." End quote. Pretty disturbing stuff. He then goes on to pretend like he's on the children's side, and the evil ones in this are the conservatives who speak out about drag kids being sexualized, which makes people want to sexualize them more or something? I don't know, it's all a trip. The author is Tom O'Carroll, who is a British pro-pedophilia advocate who has been arrested once for child pornography and again later for planning on distributing more child pornography, 50,000 photos to be exact. He also campaigned for the age of consent in the UK to be lowered to 4 years old. 4 years old. So I guess writing articles like this is how he spends his time now. To my surprise, Wendy actually responded to this. She basically said that she found his comments disturbing and then turned her attention to the right-wing media, saying that it's wrong of us to blame her for attracting pedophiles to her son. And I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so, because that's inappropriate and it won't solve anything, but is she really surprised? I'm sorry, but anyone with half a brain knew this was coming. Did she seriously think that there was absolutely no correlation between pedophiles and children drag shows? Drag is inherently sexual. When adults perform, it's the exaggerated sexuality of a woman being put on display. The slutty outfits, exaggerated makeup, breast and butt cushions, and more often than not, sexual dancing. They take everything from women that is viewed in a sexual taboo way and exaggerate it in an over-sexual manner for a performance. That's what drag is. And I've always wondered why feminists aren't against this, because it's very much the sexualization of women being mocked by men. But when you take a young, innocent child and put him in the spotlight like this, people will see him. Pedophiles will see him. And you're the one doing it. Stop acting like you're surprised that this could ever possibly happen, and remove your child from the public eye so he won't be targeted like this. But I'll bet you won't, because you love money too much, and your son gets you a lot of it, all at the cost of his safety and innocence. If this was truly about your son expressing himself and not the fame, then he would be dressing how he wants at his house, and not be all over social media. Do you see the difference? Desmond was also asked to be in a music video made by none other than Lindsay from Queer Kids Stuff, and all I'm going to say is that it's bad. Not going to really get into it, just going to point out that once again, he's around all queer adults. No other child in sight. I just hope he has friends his own age somewhere. I've never made a video on Queer Kid Stuff, but it can all be summarized by saying stop. These topics aren't appropriate for the age demographic you're targeting. Let kids grow up normally and learn about it on their own when they're older. Adding to the list of so-called accomplishments, Desmond was asked to promote a new LGBT shoe line by Converse. They chose 6 individuals within the community to model the merchandise, including Desmond, who was 11 at the time. Converse is a big company, so I'm sure Wendy is just ecstatic about how much money her son is going to get her through this. I think it's wrong in general for children to model, but to exploit a young child who's questioning his sexuality comes off as a bit manipulative to me. Wendy also claimed that her and her husband do not make any money off of his performances, which is just so funny to me. This is obviously manipulative. I wouldn't have guessed that he made money off his performances, but you know how he does make money? Being in music videos, promoting Converse, agreeing to paid promotions on Instagram, which you have a lot of. You're still getting paid through your son. It's just manipulative to say that he doesn't get paid through his performances. Also, can someone please get this kid a bagel? Something I didn't comment on in my last video was his weight. On his website, there used to be an option to book him. For what? I don't know. I assume videos and photo shoots and shit, but it gave his height, weight, hair color, eye color, and so on. All of his physical attributes were mentioned, but none of his accomplishments, which I would consider to be important when you're booking someone. So what are these people booking him for, just based on his height and weight? I don't know, but it's weird. I understand for modeling, the agencies want exact numbers, but Desmond doesn't do real modeling through an agency. When a company needs to prove that they aren't homophobic, they just hire him as the token gay kid. It doesn't matter what his measurements are. The site has since been changed, but when he was 10, it said that his height was 4 foot 3 inches and his weight was 51 pounds. If you enter that into a BMI calculator, you get underweight. I've looked at several calculators, and that seems to be the case for all. I'm not saying his mother is starving him, but I am saying that he is significantly underweight. He does not look healthy. Models and public figures tend to be judged so harshly that they typically suffer from eating disorders, which is another reason why a child shouldn't be in that position. It doesn't matter if Desmond won't eat because he wants to stay thin, or because his mother is doing it to him. He has to gain weight to be at a healthy level. I understand this information is from when he was 10, and he just turned 12, but he honestly looks the same to me. I want this video to inform people. I want the public to be aware that we do not live in a perfect world, and there could be predators around every corner. And as a parent, it is your job to keep your child safe, not exploit him online, not make money off of him, and not put him in dangerous situations. A few months ago, it was discovered that a drag queen who frequented the Drag Queen Storytime Hour events at libraries was a convicted pedophile. 32-year-old Albert Garza was accused of molesting an 8-year-old boy, yet was still performing for children in drag. And to the LGBT community, my own community, I beg you, please do not support this. Understand that this is wrong and this is abnormal. Allowing the fetishization of children in your group will for sure be the downfall of your community. If you're an adult and you want to be a drag queen, you're allowed to. If you're not hurting anyone and you have no intention to hurt anyone, then you are more than allowed to dress up and perform. My issue is when you take something as innocent and pure as a child and you taint their minds and teach them that this is okay and this is normal, and they let their guard down and could end up getting hurt. Pushing and brainwashing a young child into doing something so inherently sexual, so fetishized, I'm not okay with that. 10 years ago, this would have been illegal and Desmond would have been taken away. If this was a girl dancing and stripping on stage, she would not be famous. She would be in the custody of CPS. So why is the system failing this child? It seems like no one cares. No one is trying. And in the end, it's only going to be him that pays the price for it. Please understand how important this is and spread the word that this is not normal and this child needs help. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.